and we are doing the topic explanation of noise pollution. What is noise pollution? When do we say that there is noise? In the previous portion, we understood that when is music called noise? So when the sound is synchronized and it is pleasing to our ear, then it is music. But when the same sound becomes unorganized and then it becomes noise. So then if the same sound is continuously observed, then it is called noise pollution. Presence of unwanted gases and particle in air is called air pollution. So air pollution is slightly similar to noise pollution. In the air pollution, there are unwanted things which are present in the air. But in noise pollution, presence of excessive unwanted sound in the environment is called noise pollution. What are some sources of noise pollution? The main causes of noise pollution are sounds of vehicles. So in today's world, we will say that more sound which is produced from vehicle is polluting, and that causes noise pollution. Major causes of noise pollution are sound of vehicles, explosions, bursting of cracker machines, loudspeakers. These are main sources of noise pollution. What sources in the home are there which cause noise pollution? If you look around at home, you will see that there are different sources of sound which are creating noise at home. Television and transistor radio at high volume, kitchen appliances, so many appliances you use at home which produce lot of noise. So what are the different sources of noise pollution? So you must be hearing noise of crackers. So that is it wanted or it is unwanted? So you enjoy the sound, but that noise creates problem. But we don't realize it because that does not affect our health directly. If we breathe unwanted air, and we will start getting irritation, and we may start coughing and we will fall sick. If we breathe dirty air or infected air, so then we start breathing and then we will face the problem. If you are hearing continuously loud sound, you will see that mostly there is nothing done on noise. So noise pollution is present everywhere and it is affecting our health, but we don't realize it because it does not cause immediate effect on our health. What are the harms of noise pollution? If we read the harms, then we will understand that why mostly we do not talk about noise pollution. The presence of excessive noise in the surrounding may cause many health problems. The first is lack of sleep. If there is lot of noise, you may not be able to sleep. Hypertension, which is high blood pressure. High blood pressure, everyone must be hearing that there is someone around you must be suffering from high blood pressure. Anxiety and many more health disorders may be caused by noise pollution. These are the effects of noise pollution. Anxiety means you are not able to you don't feel comfortable, and then you are uncomfortable, and then you feel anxious all the time and you feel nervous. Then you are not able to concentrate. A person who's exposed to sound continuously may get temporary or permanent impairment of hearing. Your ears may get damaged. And one of the main cause of effect of noise pollution amongst the especially children is that they lose concentration. They are not able to concentrate in their work because they are continuously surrounded by noise. So what are the harms of noise pollution are given here. That is one effect. Apart from these, few more harmful effects are it causes headache. It causes, like I said, loss of concentration. It causes nervous tension. Then it affects our nervous system and it may affect it causes headache in some people if there is loud noise. So people who are continuously in contact or they are surrounded by noise, they complain of these health problems. What are the measures? What should be done to limit the noise pollution? We must control the source of noise. How can this be done? You must use silencer. The devices which are creating noise, they must be installed. Now, this is a device installed in engines. If you see every vehicle which you use at home, two-wheeler or a four-wheeler, it has got a silencer. What is the work of the silencer? To reduce the sound. Industrial machines and home appliances, they normally have to be silenced. So try to use, and they are crafted or made in such a way that the noise produced is less. This noise will be may not affect you directly, but it affects your health indirectly. So we don't realize that our why we are getting irritated, or why we are having headache, or why we are not able to concentrate. That is the effect of noise pollution. How can the noise pollution be controlled? How can we reduce pollution? By all noisy operations must be conducted away. So if you are finding that people are creating noise around your city, around your house, then ask them to create noise away from the city. That is why all the industries and factories are given permission to operate away from the city. Use of automobile horns should be minimized. People use horns continuously. They feel that the horn is there, so they have to use it. But the horn should be used only when it is important. Otherwise, horn should not be used. TV and music system should be run at low volumes. Don't use music systems at high volume, because it will affect your brain, it will affect your concentration. Trees should be planted along the roads and the building. If there are large amount of trees in your society, you will see that the sound production is reduced. So if you have large amount of trees, and if you have less trees, then ensure that you have more trees. Why? What will the trees do? When the sound is produced, the trees have got leaves. Those leaves will reflect the sound, and those reflected sounds will become weak, and therefore trees help to control noise. They help to reduce the sound. They will cut down the sound. So why people in the cities are having problem of concentration or high blood pressure? One of the reason is that there are no trees in the very less trees in the cities. Then the last portion of this topic is hearing impairment. Hearing impairment is when you are not able to hear. Total hearing impairment, which is rare, is usually from birth. So we read about the functioning of the human ear. Partial disability is the result of a disease. A person may not be able to hear, or may not be able to hear totally, because his ear, some part of the ear is not functioning properly. A person may be able to hear partially, or may get affected because of some disease or some injury. Children with impaired hearing need special care by learning sign language. Such children can communicate effectively, because speech develops as the direct result of hearing. A child with hearing loss may have defective speech also. That there are devices for the hearing impaired, and you must have heard that people now use devices which are operating, and these devices are basically helping the children to, or people to communicate. So how are they able to communicate? They use sign language. The person who is not able to hear, they can see and they can feel. If they are not able to hear, they will see it. So like at present, you are using both your senses. You are using your eyes also, and you are using your ears also. So that is audio visual aid. It helps us in learning things faster. If you are not able to hear, then you will have to read only. So when you try to learn something and you are learning by reading the book, then you are using only your visual aid. But at present, you are seeing also and you are hearing also. So when you combine both, then it helps you in learning better and you remember the things faster. So children who have got defect, some birth problems, then they may not be able to hear, but there are technological devices for the hearing impaired, and it has made possible for the people to improve their quality of life. The society can do much to improve the living environment for the hearing impaired and help them live normal life. So people will be able to live normal life when they are using the devices. So that is the end of the chapter. It was slightly lengthy chapter, but yes, it is not a very difficult one. Now let's move on to the question answers and fill in the blanks of this chapter. Some of them you will be able to answer easily. The first one, if you know the answer, then you can type below. Select the correct answer. Sound can travel through gas, solid, liquid, or solid, liquid, and gas. Simple answer. Sound can travel through D part. Yes, correct. It is sound can travel through all solid, liquid, and gas. Sound cannot travel through which medium? Where there is none of these. So sound can travel through all mediums. Voice of which of the following is likely to have minimum frequency? Baby, baby boy, baby girl, man, or a woman? Voice of which of the following is likely to have minimum frequency? Low frequency. Man, yes. So we read that low frequency sound is produced by men, and that is why the sound produced is higher. So we read this low heavy sound, and the heavy sound is compared with the line, and the baby girl, baby boy, they both will have sharp sound, and a woman also. These three are having sharp sounds. Now the next one. In the following statement, tick true and false. Sound cannot travel in vacuum. Cannot travel in vacuum. True or false? It is true. The number of oscillations, correct, true. The number of oscillations per second of a vibrating object is called the time period. So we read the definition of time period earlier. The number of oscillations made in 1 second is called the time period. So it is false. What is this definition of? It is false. Why? Because the number of oscillations made in 1 second is called time period or something else. It is called frequency. So this B part is false. Then C part, if the amplitude of vibration is large, sound is feeble. If the amplitude is large, then the sound is feeble. True or false? If the amplitude is large, then the sound is feeble. We read one thing earlier, that if the amplitude is directly the loudness is proportional to amplitude square. If the amplitude will be large, then the sound will be large. It will be loud. So it is false. Right. Then for human ears, the audible range is 20 to 20,000 hertz. So it is audible range. So this is true. The lower the frequency, higher is the pitch. The lower is the frequency, higher is the pitch. Yes. Unwanted or unpleasant sound is music. False. False, right. Noise pollution may cause partial hearing impairment. True. If there is too much noise around, then you may not be able to hear with your ear. Why? What will happen if there is too much noise around? Your eardrum may get damaged and you will not be able to hear. Then fill in the blank with suitable words. Time taken by an object to complete one oscillation is called. The time taken by an object to complete one vibration is called what? Yes, time period. It is time period. Then the loudness is determined by the dash of vibration. Loudness is determined by dash of vibration. What will come in B part? Yes, correct. Amplitude. Now B part. Loudness is determined by the dash of vibration. Amplitude. Then the unit of frequency is dash. Frequency is measured in the unit of frequency is measured in hertz, not decibel. dB, decibel is used for measuring sound. Yes, if the intensity, the loudness of the sound, that is measured in decibel. Then unwanted sound is also called, simple, unwanted sound is called noise. Shrillness of a sound is determined by the dash of vibration. Shrillness of the sound is determined by dash of vibration. Yes, correct. What is the answer of this? Shrillness of sound is determined by the dash of vibration. Frequency. Oh yes. High frequency, low frequency we did. It is measured by frequency. Then fifth part, a pendulum oscillates 40 times in 4 seconds. This is a maths question. A pendulum vibrates 40 times in 4 seconds. What is the time period? So what is the time period definition? Time period we know. What is the definition of time period? It is the time taken to complete one vibration. So we read this earlier. We read this here in this portion. Amplitude, time period and frequency. And there was a point which came here, that is the time period. And you have read it here. Oscillations, frequency and the time period. 1 hertz is 1 oscillation in 1 second. So when you say comparing the sound and the noise, then it is compared to the time period. So what is the time period here? When the pendulum is oscillating 40 times in 4 seconds, what is the time period and what is the frequency? Number of oscillations made in 1 second. So what is the time period? Yes, it is called the time period. So calculate what is the time period in this case. It is oscillating 40 times. 40 times in 4 seconds. So what is the time period and then what is the frequency? So what is time period and what is the frequency? The frequency is measured in hertz, and you have, if you see the, remember the definition, the number of oscillations per second is the frequency. So per second means what is the number of oscillations in 1 second? Yes, so it will be 40 divided by 4. So it is 10 what? What will be the unit? What are we finding? 10. 10 is called 10 times per second. So what will it be called? Frequency or time period? Time period is measured in seconds and you are finding 10 times in 1 second. So that is the frequency. So what will you say? 10 is 10 hertz. And what is the time period? According to the definition, the number of oscillations made in 1 second. So what is the time period? 10. How much? What is the time period? Calculate the time period. Yes, 10 hertz. So 10 hertz is frequency and what is the time period? So see the definition of time period. Yes, it is frequency. So 10 hertz, we will say that 10 hertz is the frequency. And what is the time period now? With this information, what is the time period? You need to give two answers. Pendulum oscillates 40 times in 4 seconds. Find its time period and frequency. So what is the time period? Type below if you know what is the time period. And if you don't know, then come to the point where time period is given. In this portion, 10 times in 1 second. Yes. So here in this portion where amplitude time period is given, revise this, you will understand why it is 10 times. Now the next part, the sound from a mosquito is produced when it vibrates its wings at an average rate of 500 vibrations in 1 second. So 500 is the number of times in 1 second. What is the time period of the vibration? Simple. It is vibrating 500 times in 1 second. So what is the time period? And what is the frequency? So what is the time period if it is vibrating 500 times in 1 second? See, it is same question. 500 times in 1 second. So here, since it was given 4 seconds, we had to find what is the time taken for 1 second. So we divided and we got the answer 10. Here it is already given 500 times in 1 second. So what is the answer now? What is the time period of the vibration? 500. So time period is measured in seconds. So we will say again, if here it is given, see, again it is given here, the number of oscillations made in 1 second is called frequency. Oscillations made in 1 second is called frequency. Frequency is measured in hertz and you can recognize an amplitude. Then what is the time? The time period is in earlier class about the oscillatory motion and its time period. 500 hertz is the frequency. Hertz is the unit of frequency. What will be the time period? The time taken. When you say time period, then you have to give the unit in seconds. You will say that it is in seconds. Identify the part which vibrates to produce sound in the following. Dholak. What is vibrating in a dholak? In a dholak there is a part which you hit, then it produces sound. So what is it? In a sitar and in a flute. So what produces sound in a dholak? Skin or a membrane. So you can write dholak is membrane, sitar is wire and flute is vibrating air column. 3 things are there. You should write membrane, wire, and vibrating air column. It is not air, we will say vibrating air column. These are the answers. So first answer, dholak is a membrane is there, sitar has got a wire, and flute has got air column vibrates. What is the difference between noise and music? So this we did, and a vibrating air column. In a flute you should write it is wind only, but write it is as air column. Now the answer is, what is the difference between noise and music? The difference is given here. So from here you can mark noise and music. Music is the sound which is pleasing to the ear. You can write music is the sound which is regular and periodic. You can write this. Musical sound is the sound which is regular and periodic and is pleasing to our ears. Noise is the sound which is irregular and unpleasant to our ears. Noise is the sound, yes, you are right. Noise is the sound which is irregular and unpleasant to our ears. You can play it again and understand what I have said. Then, can music become noise sometimes? Yes, so you can write, yes, the music can become noise if it is irregular and loud. Music can become noise when it is irregular and loud. Then answer number 9, give sources of noise pollution in your surroundings. So you can give any sources in your surroundings. Surroundings means from your house, from outside. So from your surrounding you will say sound produced by traffic, sound produced by machines at home. You can name some machines. You can name musical instrument. You can name some instruments which you play. You can name a music system. You can name some appliances which you use at home. Anything. If there is a factory, if there is a, so anything you can write. Explain in what way noise pollution is harmful to humans. So how it is harmful to humans. So we read this, that the from here it is, so what are the harmful effects of noise pollution? You can write describe in points. First one, it causes loss of concentration. Second, causes high blood pressure. Write it sequence: loss of concentration, high blood pressure. It causes temporary hearing loss, which is given here. These are given here. Then fourth, you can write cause irritation. It can cause irritation, anxiety. You can write irritation, anxiety also. So write it in points. These are the harmful effects of noise pollution. Then is that how will you explain is harmful to human? Your parents are going to buy a house. They have been ordered to find. They have been offered to one house which is roadside and another 3 lanes away from the road. Which house will you suggest your parents? Give your reason. So you have to give reason, and the answer is in the question only, that I will suggest my parents to buy a house which is away from the road because it will be away from source of noise. There will be less noise, and give reason. It will reduce noise pollution. So give reason. Then sketch larynx and explain its function in your own words. Now larynx is given in your book. Is given in the book here, and here is the larynx and picture given here. Otherwise I will show you in another chapter. There is a picture given. It is given in reproduction chapter. Otherwise this diagram is sufficient. Here you can give label it that it is the larynx, and if you see it is given in another chapter. Come to reproduction, there it is also given here. This is the Adam's apple. Otherwise this diagram is sufficient, and you can label it here that this is the larynx and these are the vocal cords. Then sketch and explain its function in your own words. Now larynx, which is given in your book, its explanation is given here. You can write the explanation. In humans, the sound is produced by voice box or larynx. This part of the body is at the, so you write like this: the sound is produced by the voice box or the larynx. This part is at the upper end of the windpipe. Two vocal cords are stretched across the voice box. Then after that, when the lungs force air through the slit, the vocal cords vibrate, producing sound. Then muscles attached to the vocal cord can make the cords tight or loose. When the vocal cords are tight, the sound is different from when they are loose. Okay? If you have to write more, then this part also you can include. So you can play the video and you will understand what I have said if you are missing out. Then lightning and thunder take place in the sky at the same time and at the same distance from us. Lightning is seen earlier and thunder is heard later. Give reason why. So first you have to describe it. Lightning is seen earlier because, so you have to give reason. Lightning is seen earlier because the speed of light is more, and sound is heard later because the speed of sound is slower. When there is lightning in the sky, we can see light first. The sound from the produced due to lightning reaches our ears in more time. Therefore, we hear the light thunder later. So you have to give proper explanation. And if you want, you can mention the speed also. 330 meter per second is the speed of the sound in air. And we read it somewhere earlier that the speed of the sound is different and the speed of the light is different, so you can mention it. Now apart from this, in the chapter there are different things which are not mentioned here. Now these are, you have to write definition. Yes, this portion. What can be done to control noise pollution? So this part. So you can add extra question. what should be done to control noise pollution? You can write from here. Then you have to write what I told you, the types of sound which I told you. So what were the three types of sound which I told you? The ultrasonic, infrasonic, and the, so those are to be written. You have to write that those are the sounds which are of three types. So you have to write what are the different types of sound. So mention the name of the three sounds. You can check before this in this video also, that where I have explained what are the different types of sound. So you will write those ultrasound, infrasonic, and audible sounds. Those you will write. They are the three types of sound. Then another part, the human ear, important. This explanation is there. So there is a link of this video, explanation of the human ear with diagram, label diagram is there. The link of this you will see in this video. There you can check out the explanation. That also should be learned. Then what is amplitude, what is time period, and frequency? We have done this. This is also important part. These questions, this is not asked in the question, this should be learned. Then the activities we have discussed earlier. So these activities have to be written. They will be asked, explain how will you show that sound can travel through solid. So this experiment, explain how will you show that sound can travel through liquid. Then this portion, this you have already written. Then there are the instruments. What are the different types of instruments? So that is important. You have to write what are the different types of instrument and give their examples. This one, so wind instrument, percussion instrument, and so all this you will see in the playlist of this chapter. You can check that out. Then the chapter is over. So we will continue with the next chapter in the next class. If you have any doubt, you can type below this and ask. See you in the next class. Have a nice day.